them. You know you're Ukrainian. Yeah, these are Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. And I'll come back to them later. First of all, this is me, Arjen Miedema. I work at Mage Titans IT. I'm from Holland, as you can see, because I eat stroopwafels. And the idea of this presentation was actually to take you along with my journey to develop my first Magento 2 project, which started around the end of last year, the beginning of this year. And I thought, well, this event is in June, so I'll be really good at Magento 2 at that moment. Well, I'm not. So I changed it a bit, and what I'm going to do now is to still take you along with my journey, but in a kind of different level. All the struggles I had during that time of moving from Magento 1 to Magento 2. And this was my first issue. Where to start? We had the Snowdog frontals, we had headless Magento 2, which has been discussed here, and we had Vanilla Magento 2. Yeah, what are you going to use? Do you use the default Magento option? Do you use the community option? Or are you going to develop your own front-end layer within your company? That's a discussion we had within the company, and we decided to stick with Magento 2 Vanilla at this moment, mainly because for us it was the best option at that time, and maybe it's still at this time, because yeah, we had some Magento 2 projects live. We are using Magento Enterprise a lot for our clients, and for example, Snowdog wasn't supporting Enterprise at that time. And about headless, it would be a big investment for us and our clients, and yeah, we wanted to continue with the development of those projects, so yeah, we decided to stick with Vanilla at this moment. Maybe we're going to move, but that depends on the clients. And then the project started. The design department started with their designs, and the first design was based on Magento 1. And for the homepage, that's not such a big issue. But for the checkout, it is. And also, we use a lot of the same extensions within the Magento 1 projects, which are not yet available within Magento 2. So yeah, that was a lot of discussion between design, front-end development, and also a little bit with back-end development. So that was the first real struggle within moving from Magento 1 to Magento 2. We managed to get it done, actually. So that's pretty nice. And yeah, do you need a custom blank theme? Magento comes with a blank theme, and for Magento 1 we decided back a couple of years ago to create our own blank theme, which has rich snippets within them and that kind of stuff. And to be honest, the blank theme was and is pretty solid. It's working as a good base for your own project. So yeah, we're using that one, and we didn't have any big issues with them yet. We all know the bugs and the issues with new technology. But for us, it worked pretty well, and it's still how we develop all our new projects. And then this part, the legacy part. I've been working with Magento since 2008, so that's almost 10 years. So if you ask me to do anything on the front end in Magento 1, I think I can handle it pretty easily. And yeah, I found out pretty soon that doing the same for Magento 2 was a completely different story. Something that would keep me busy for 1 hour in Magento 1 will take me 2 days or something in Magento 2, just because it's all new, you don't know what to do, and yeah, it feels really complicated, but yeah, maybe Magento 1 was complicated and we knew how to fix it. So yeah, this technology is 10 years old, so that's something to keep in mind as well, or almost 10 years old now. And because of the previous slide, I wanted to look into my time spent on Magento 1 in the past couple of months. And that was kind of a big surprise for me. Yeah, we still have a lot of Magento 1 projects. We have 5 Magento 2 projects at this moment and 22 Magento 1 projects still running. I'm probably not going to move to Magento 2 all at a sudden, at least not the bigger ones. So I looked into my timesheets of the last half year and found out that from the 1st of January till the end of May, I spent less than 14% on Magento 2, which was an eye-opener for me because it just means I need to do more Magento 2 to get to know the stuff. And but on the other hand, like I said, our clients aren't moving to Magento 2 all at a sudden, so this will probably be an issue for quite some time. So yeah, the question is, how are we going to accomplish this? But in the end, it's not that hard because we all know HTML, we all know CSS, XML, JavaScript, and yeah, some stuff can be pretty complicated, like Maria just said, on the UI components and yeah, all the new technology and the different approach of XML, but we know the technology, so that's not the issue here. So I started to think, okay, how can I improve on becoming a better Magento 2 developer? And the first thing I did right away was reading the dev docs, going to Stack Exchange, visit Magento user group, yeah, look on Twitter a lot, etc. So there's a lot of knowledge out there, and I think that should be your first point of focus, to ask other people for help who are more experienced, and in the end, yeah, what goes around comes around. I can already answer some basic Magento 2 questions, so maybe in the end I could help on with dev docs and more complicated questions about Magento 2. But I think that it will still take some time, but yeah, I think this is good to know for all developers who are moving to Magento 2 and want to know more about the code and the issues they're having. And also I thought, yeah, I see a lot of people complaining about the current version, Magento 2.1, which is still pretty unstable and have a lot of bugs. But then I thought, yeah, we are on version .1. Who of you guys remember Magento 1.1? Well, that was far from stable. So we all know there are issues, and they will be there for a lot of weeks, months, maybe even years, I don't know. But it will get better. And to me, Magento 1, the first stable version, was maybe 1.4, somewhere around that. And well, that was released far from 2008. So maybe it will take some time to be at the same level as Magento 1 is, but on the other hand, it's already way better than Magento 1 if you look at the code and the possibilities you have. And yeah, like I said before, you can be part of fixing those issues because you can help other people fixing those issues, but with Magento 2 being on GitHub and stuff, you can actually fix those issues yourself and create pull requests. And that's maybe the best part of the biggest difference between Magento 1 at this stage and Magento 2 at the same stage. If you look at version numbers, we're involved in fixing those issues and developing Magento 2 together with Magento. And focus, yeah, like I said, I spent 14% of my time in the last half year on Magento 2. The only way to increase it is by doing it more. And of that 14%, I think almost half of it was in the last couple of weeks before I checked it. Because at the start, I didn't do anything. In the first month, it was 5 hours or something in a complete month. That's ridiculous. So that I found out that if you focus on it, shut all your Slack channels, Twitter, mobile phones, email, and just go for Magento and start developing in it, yeah, you'll get a hang of it. And for me, it took me maybe a couple of days to start getting into that flow, and then the soupy patch came. So it was back to Magento 1 again. And yeah, this is a saying in Holland, which means, yeah, we fear what we don't know. And I see that with with some of my colleagues, with myself. At the moment that we have to start working with Magento 2 because we have to deliver some stuff. It's really easy to get distracted. Okay, we have to fix these bugs. Oh wait, this Magento 1 client is calling. I really should take that call because it's important, but it's maybe not even half as important as delivering your stuff in Magento 2. So yeah, that's a big difference. And also, yeah, with the new guys we have in our office, some of them I had a talk with a couple of weeks ago, asking about how they fix something in Magento 2. And I said, oh wait, I should do that in Magento 1, this and this and this way. And he answered, how the hell can you work with Magento 1? Because that code base is crap. Well, maybe he has a point, because like I said, it's 10 years old. I think the latest update on prototype.js is years ago, and we still use it. So that's, yeah, maybe we should just stop using it. And yeah, then this one, just do it. We can't go back. If you want to continue building your new Magento merchants on Magento 1, yeah, you're not serious about this. We all have to go to Magento 2, and I think we all should go to Magento 2 because it will be the future. The stuff we have with Composer, with Require.js, Knockout, that kind of stuff. Maybe it's complicated at this time, but if we work with it for a couple of months, it will be our new nature. So then it will be really difficult to just fix that one issue in Magento 1. And about these two guys, they had this fight in April, yeah, 29th of April this year. And when I saw this, I actually had to think about Magento. And that's why I thought about this. On the left, you see Joshua, who is the new guy, who is fresh, new blood, and really talented to become even a bigger fighter than he is at this moment. And on the right, you have Klitschko, who is still a big fighter, but he's already 41, so his best days maybe have passed. So this felt a little bit for me like Magento 1 versus Magento 2. Magento 1 will be there for some time, but yeah, it's getting old, and it's getting older. And you know, the only way to make it, to let it keep fighting, is by patching it and fixing issues. And you know, with Magento 2, you have the future in your hands, and yeah, you just need to support those guys, the new technology, and yeah, in the end, you'll win by knockout. Thank you. You can see my story.